Hi, I'm Richard Karn, and you may have seen me on TV talking about the world's #1 expandable garden hose. Well, the brand new Pocket Hose Copperhead with Pocket Pivot is here, and it's a total game changer. Old-fashioned hoses get kinks and creases at the spigot, but the Copperhead's Pocket Pivot swivels 360 degrees for full water flow and freedom to water with ease all around your home. When you're all done, this rust-proof anti-burst hose shrinks back down to pocket size for effortless handling and tidy storage. Plus, your super light and ultra-durable Pocket Hose Copperhead is backed with a 10-year warranty. What could be better than that? I'll tell you what, an exciting exclusive offer just for you.
For a limited time, you can get a free Pocket Pivot and their 10-pattern sprayer with the purchase of any size Copperhead hose. Just go to getcopperhead.com. That's getcopperhead.com for your 2 free gifts with purchase. Getcopperhead.com.
Message and data rates may apply. See terms for details.
Frequency Podcast Network. Stories that matter, podcasts that resonate.
It was a moment that changed Toronto.
Here we are. That's it! We have won! We have won! Victory! It's victory! It's pandemonium! It's joy! Toronto is the NBA championship city! The Raptors have done it!
June 13th, 2019, the day the Raptors clinched the title of NBA champions. We changed. We the North became not only a rallying cry for the Raptors in basketball in Toronto, but a moment of pride for Canada, the coming of age with a new swagger in our step. And the man behind it all, Masai Ujiri, a legend in Toronto. The last month, Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment announced their plans to part ways after more than a decade of Ujiri presidency. MLSE President and CEO Keith Pelly.
Change is inevitable. And what we really thought is with the current status of our team and the foundation that, well, Masai has built, that this was the time to make the change. The roster is in place. All our players are signed at the luxury tax limit. The front office is renewed, including General Manager Bobby Webster. And we have great coaching stability led by Darko. So we're now going to turn our attention to search for a new team president.
So, what kind of legacy does Masai Ujiri leave behind, and where does he and the Raptors go from here? I'm Maria Kestane, and today on The Big Story, I'm talking to News Radio and City News sports anchor Vrajesh Dave as we dig into how Masai Ujiri put basketball in Canada on the map and changed the way we looked at ourselves as a country. Thanks for chatting with me today, Vrajesh.
Happy to be here.
So let's start off right here. Did you or did you not grow up a Raptors fan?
I did not. Well, kind of, sort of, more hockey, soccer. But then in university, I worked as a play-by-play announcer for the varsity sports, and that really fueled my passion for basketball. So I got in at a great time right before the 2019 championship.
Right. So what was your earliest memory of the team? I guess, did you have any before 2019, before they won the championship?
I did. I'm sure diehard fans are going to be all over me for this, but honestly, I remember the Chris Bosh days, when he was a big name, and then obviously the Vince Carter dunk competition from 2000. Distinctly remember like the Jose Calderon days, and then Andrea Bargnani, and then my first game was against the Knicks. I remember going to that in 2013.
Okay, so from 2013 and the Chris Bosh days, take me through the evolution of the team from that point, I guess, from when it transitioned to when it was under Masai Ujiri.
Yeah, so obviously the team came into the league in the mid-90s, right, along with Vancouver as part of the NBA's expansion into Canada. But jumping ahead to that phase, Masai Ujiri came on in 2013-14. He worked as a scout with Orlando and Denver, and then as an assistant GM before becoming the vice chairman and president of the Raptors. And that was a really, really critical phase because you look at what the team was, and they'd made the playoffs a few times, but weren't really a contender, kind of an afterthought in the NBA, if you will, just more of a basement dweller. But then the next phase that Masai really spearheaded brought on DeMar DeRozan with that 2009 draft, and then the move for Kyle Lowry in 2012. That backcourt duo just became synonymous with the franchise, and they were a cornerstone. And I think Masai's leadership really helped them get to that 5 consecutive playoff run between 2014 to 2018, which is when I think a lot of those Raptors fans came on board, myself included, right ahead of that 2019 championship.
Right. So with We the North, it was like the country of hockey fans suddenly realized basketball was also our sport. What kind of role did Masai play in that movement?
I think he was really visible to the fans. He was accessible, and it wasn't just him, but the team that he brought on with him was huge. There was a big marketing shift around 2014. That's when that We the North really took off. There was a gritty kind of 60-second anthem spot that, went on in the arena and then had TV spots. That's when the We the North flag was developed, and that real campaign kind of led the team to selling out tickets for 2014-15. They sold, I think, over 12,000 season tickets, setting a new record. There was all that new merch and hats and sweaters. And I think that's when the whole Jurassic Park establishment really took place outside of Scotiabank Arena and became that rallying cry. So Masai's leadership, but also his strategic appointing of people in certain positions was, I think, what really transitioned that phase for the Raptors.
Yeah, what did you make of that branding kind of change? Do you think it was the right move for the team in Toronto?
Absolutely. I think I have 3 We the North shirts. I paid for 2 of them. They're just they're a great reason, a great motto to get the team together. We are the only Canadian team. Obviously, there's talk of expansion back into Canada, but being the Northmost team, I think it gives Canada, not just Toronto, something to get behind, and shows the NBA and other markets and shows players in the NBA that, hey, this is a place you want to play. This is a country, not just a city, that gets behind its players, gets behind its team. And we saw that during the 2019 championship run with those Jurassic Parks set up from coast to coast to coast at every major city and every major town around Canada.
Right. So we saw, with Masai coming in, this new energy, this new movement throughout the team and throughout the city, I guess the country at large as well. What do you think made Masai Ujiri such a fan favorite?
Again, I think this goes back to accessibility and visibility. Not that I have his number, but he was very accessible to the fans. Unlike a lot of other owners across sports who were kind of just at press conferences and the bigger events, Masai was often courtside. He'd chum it up with players pregame. He'd talk to the other team. He'd talk to coaches. It gave a very big brother energy as opposed to, oh, my boss is here energy, if that makes sense. Even when Masai was confirmed to leave just a week ago, Drake posted on social media saying, he called him my mentor and my friend, saying the city will miss you. I think fans just appreciated Masai's candidness, his relatability. He was polished and professional, yes, but he wasn't afraid to let his hair down, kind of speak his mind, get in on rallying chants. He was known for saying F Brooklyn when just fans were saying that. So it was cool to hear someone in a suit say that. And he was really just a fan in a suit, which was awesome to see.
Right. And I think one of the biggest moments, I guess, in his career as a president of the team was the Kawhi trade, how impactful that was. So talk to me a little bit about that impact. And did the Raptors change when he decided not to stay?
Yeah, I think the Kawhi trade was just a real hallmark, right, in Raptors history. When you look at what he did, giving up DeMar DeRozan, Jakob Poeltl, and a protected pick in 2019 in the first round for both Leonard and Danny Green, because Toronto had made 5 straight playoff appearances that we talked about, right, from 2014 to 18, and they'd cemented themselves as sort of an Eastern Conference superpower. But Ujiri wasn't really happy going into that 2018-19 season, especially since LeBron James had been such an Achilles heel for Toronto. The Cavs eliminated Toronto in 3 straight seasons in the playoffs. So what followed was obviously changing that coaching job from Dwayne Casey to giving assistant Nick Nurse that head coach position, but also trading the longest tenured Raptor, DeMar, which Ujiri got a ton of backlash for initially because he was the franchise's all-time scoring leader, the leader in, the most successful period of the team's history. He had a year remaining on his contract. And Leonard was sort of known for being mercurial, and it was unsure, improbable even, that he would re-sign. So Masai knew, hey, this is a 1-year deal. This is a 1-year shot that we really have. And I think fans really appreciated his ability to just gamble and say, you know what? let's push all the chips in and just make this our year, or figure things out after. But let's go all in right now.
Hi, I'm Richard Karn, and you may have seen me on TV talking about the world's #1 expandable garden hose. Well, the brand new Pocket Hose Copperhead with Pocket Pivot is here, and it's a total game changer. Old-fashioned hoses get kinks and creases at the spigot, but the Copperhead's Pocket Pivot swivels 360 degrees for full water flow and freedom to water with ease all around your home. When you're all done, this rust-proof anti-burst hose shrinks back down to pocket size for effortless handling and tidy storage. Plus, your super light and ultra-durable Pocket Hose Copperhead is backed with a 10-year warranty. What could be better than that? I'll tell you what, an exciting exclusive offer just for you.
For a limited time, you can get a free pocket pivot and their 10-pattern sprayer with the purchase of any size Copperhead hose. Just go to getcopperhead.com. That's getcopperhead.com for your 2 free gifts with purchase. Getcopperhead.com.
Message and data rates may apply. See terms for details.
So let's get into, the Kawhi era. I want to take it to June 13th, 2019, when Toronto was, really put on the map. The championship win. When the Raptors did win, it was a beautiful celebration for the city, and the city became just that much more vibrant. But I think one of the enduring memories of that win, and it's not a good one, was Ujiri being prevented from celebrating the win on the court in that moment. Talk to me a little bit what happened there.
Yeah, I think that was emotions are running high, right? Especially just the excitement. In Game 6, Golden State Raps just won it. Masai wants to come down and celebrate on the court with the rest of the team, as every owner does when their team wins. It's something that separates, I think, hockey from the rest of the sports, where in the NHL, it's just the players that are lifting the cup, whereas almost in every other major sport, the owners get in on it too, which is fun to see. But I think when Masai was coming on, there was a bit of confusion as to the Golden State security and who should be let onto the court. The officer obviously thought that for whatever reason, Ujiri shouldn't have been allowed and kind of got aggressive. He pushed him, and there was video that supported this. And then Masai, again, in just that heat of the moment, caught up with the emotions, sort of pushed back. So both sides had lawsuits involved, but both were obviously called off. I think it was just one of those moments that show that, maybe there is still underlying racism in the sport. There is still things that are being grappled with both on and off the court. And even at the height of such a fun and successful championship, you are going to deal with real world problems. It's nice to know that Masai sort of looked past it quick and turned the page. But yeah, in the moment, it did sort of leave a blemish on the overall win.
So how do you think Ujiri changed the culture in Toronto?
Yeah, I think Masai really changed the culture here in Toronto. His impact on and off the court's been paramount. Obviously, the amount of moves he made on the court, the We the North branding, the marketing that he oversaw, the variety of general managers and head coaches that he worked with, it just showed how hands-on he wanted to be with the team, how much he loved the sport, how much his basketball IQ was and still is. But off the court, his cultural impact's been paramount. His Giants of Africa Foundation's been such a beacon for up-and-coming athletes and kids around the world. Gives basketball instruction and mentorship to youth in Africa and hosts camps across the continent. And earlier this year, he had the first Giants of Africa camp in Ethiopia. So it's just expanding year after year. Pascal Siakam's been very involved with that. Masai's had connections to players like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who just signed a very big extension with the Oklahoma City Thunder. He's very close with Milwaukee Bucks star Giannis Antetokounmpo. Masai's a name that's going to be synonymous with that Raptors title in 2019, a name right there with Kyle Leonard or with Kyle Lowry and Kawhi Leonard and DeMar DeRozan. Lots of fans feel he should get a banner in the Raptors. Obviously, whether or not that happens, that's up for discussion. But I think he's left a very positive, a very transformational sort of impact here in Toronto in the sports scene. Definitely one of the more liked executives, definitely one of the more remembered executives. And I think his legacy is just going to be indelible.
All right, Vrajesh, my last question. What do you think is next for Masai Ujiri?
Yeah, I think Masai could do so much. When we talk about what's next, he's got a very exciting future and he can really go wherever he wants. If he wants to go all in with Giants of Africa, he definitely could. Reports say the Atlanta Hawks are looking for a new president of basketball operations there, so that could be a venture for him stateside if he chooses. Other reports even say if he left the NBA to pursue something in business or politics, then New York or Washington might not be far away, and those could be good landing spots. I don't think he'll rush into anything immediately, but you never know. He is a strategic forward thinker, and someone like him would surely have something lined up and be successful no matter where he goes. ESPN had an article not too long ago that said he's just so with it culturally and in the business world and just has contacts in high-reaching places that if he wanted to text Barack Obama, again, this is from the article, if he wanted to text Obama, he could. So, really the world is his oyster. It's cliche, but it's true. And I think, he'll shine wherever he goes, and Toronto should just smile just knowing that he was here and he did what he did, and just appreciate him with, again, that fondness of a big brother and not a boss, but someone that really made an impact and did the best he could.
News Radio and City News sports anchor Vrajesh Dave, thank you for chatting with me. And that was the big story. You can send us feedback on this episode or any other episode by emailing us at hello@thebigstorypodcast.ca or leave a voicemail at 416-935-5935. You can find us on the Seeker app or on all your favorite podcast players. Please rate, review, follow, and share. I'm Maria Kestane. Thanks for listening.